Take two.
Hey, welcome to the Positive Birth Corner podcast, where we're changing the narrative around birth and uplifting positive birth stories, one story at a time. And I am your host, Mary DC. Season 2. What? Listen, it is season 2, and I am so excited. The love, the support in season 1 has just been phenomenal. Like, it's actually amazing. I will walk into somebody. I was at listen, your girl has been out here in the streets, okay? And somebody like stopped me, was like, yo, I've been listening to the podcast like every day. It's so good. I was like, oh my God. So I have to shout you out because you have been making this space possible. People are getting to know about Positive Birth Corner. First things first, I gotta shout out my mamas, my pregnant people. Where you at? Where you at? I see you. You are showing up for yourself and you are choosing to listen to something that feels good, that empowers you for your pregnancy journey. So I just gotta shout you out because honestly, that was the goal, is that you can come to this space. You can hear a variety of birth stories, right? Because everyone's story is so unique and so different. And yet you can see yourself in it. You can really feel empowered and take some things with you for like your next prenatal appointment, right? You can take them to your birth. So I gotta shout you out first. Secondly, I gotta shout out my doulas. Yo are showing up day in and day out. You are listening to the podcast because I know as doulas, right? Like we see a lot. We see a lot. And we need some positive birth stories too. And so you have been showing up and then you've been sharing this with your families that you support. Like you were sending the links. I'm like, yo, come through, birth workers. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I have to also shout out, we got some college students and some aunties out here who are like, yo, I haven't given birth yet. I know I'm not sure when that's going to happen for me, but you have been showing up and listening day in and day out to these episodes. I am so grateful for you. I do have to shout out you organizations. We have had incredible organizations all across the nation, like really supporting us. You have us on your website as a resource link. You have us on your flyers. You're sharing it with people. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are so, oh my God, I'm so grateful. When I say we, I need to let you know that this is a team of two and a half. The half is my son, who is 10 years old, who actually helped set up today, and it's me and it's Grant on the other side. It is a little small team, and you coming in and listening and sharing this podcast has really been incredible. So thank you so much. And we are going to season 2. I thought it was really, it's going to be really helpful to talk about, just going back to the vision, right? To the vision of Positive Birth Corner. Like, what is Positive Birth Corner podcast? How did we get here? And I think it's always a really good reminder to start there, right? Positive Birth Corner podcast is a dream come true. If you listen to my birth story, I share, please go back into season 1 and you can really hear more in details. But the story is that my journey is this, as someone who is, born in Malawi, an immigrant in this country, when I was birthing, right, when I was pregnant, like I knew the statistics. I knew the odds of a Black woman, an immigrant, birthing in a hospital setting, right? I knew all of that. And, with the preparation, with the planning and all of that, my story is that I had a good birth. I had a really good birth and in a hospital setting. And I knew that was significant because I knew that it was not about me being special. It was all of these things that had happened ahead of time for me to have my good birth. And that was it. That was it for me. It was like, change your plans, okay? What did you go to school for? Psychology? What? Change your plans. I want to do this for other people because if I didn't have a positive birth, so can you, so can others. And so I started doing this work. When I had a baby, I had this memory of attempting to pump my milk while I was supporting labor so that I could store it for my baby who's at home. Okay. So I was not playing. I was very serious because I was like, let's go help others do this work. Okay. Let's go help others, have good births. And of course, we know that it's not just about having a good birth, but we know that it's an empowering journey, right? There's something that happens to you when you have a positive birth experience. It literally, what's the word? Propels? Yeah, it propels you into life, right? Into parenting, and I've seen that true for myself and so many others. So that's how, Positive Birth Corner podcast started, it was really, what does it look like to have this space where you can just come, where you can actually hear a variety, like so many different birth stories, but that are good. Like stories that are actually good for your soul, right? Stories that can inspire and, really help you for, for your own journey to where you're at. I would tell families over and over again that I was supporting. I'm like, yo, make sure you go tell people about your good birth, right? And because I tend to connect with, most of the people that I support years later, I would normally check in and be like, yo, are you sharing your good story? Because, we need to hear them. And I would hear like this, like kind of like the same message of like, oh, I don't want to feel like I'm bragging. My mom group says like, a lot of people have had like negative stories. So like, it's kind of weird for me to talk about my story. We have to, I need you to talk about this because we just need more, we need more positivity in this birth world. So your girl started doing like an email list, like weekly. And like, bet, all right, you know what? Let me just start doing this. Like, just start sending out emails weekly of like, of telling people about like stories. I'm like, yo, I was in labor room. Let me tell you how good it went. Like, let me tell you how, they advocated for themselves. And people are like, oh my gosh, these stories are so good. Like, thank you so much for sharing. Please keep going. And the truth is that as an immigrant, English is a second language for me. So writing is a struggle. Writing is not easy for me. And I was like, I'll keep writing. I had one of my friends, Danny, like sometimes she like send me an email back and be like, yo, sis, I see you out here and trying. But just so some of the sentences did fully make sense. Or there was typos. And I'm like, oh, I'm working really hard to really help spread this news of that, like, so that you feel encouraged. So other people can like know that we can have good stories, right? Side note, I still do this email list on a weekly basis. So if you want to join and you prefer that as well, we have all these things in the show notes, okay? I then was thinking, right, like as someone who, the way I was raised up was completely different from here, completely different from my kids, that's for sure. And storytelling was very impactful in my life. It was actually part of just like growing up. Like, when your kids are going to sleep, like, the parents like will like read books to them. That was not like growing up. Is that actually we would like they would tell us stories when we were going, when it was like at night. Right. So sometimes if it was like, if it was during the summer or you're off from school, you would actually hear stories with all your friends, maybe like outside because the weather was like warm and hot, right? Storytelling, like, hearing stories has always been part of my upbringing. And I remember these stories. I think I shared this in last season. I remember these stories. The crazy part is I recently have been sharing these stories like with my kids. So they're like, oh, Ma, do you have another story tonight? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to space these stories out. Okay, so stories of like, the tortoise and the hare, right? Did I say that right? I think the accent came one of the funniest stories my kids have been loving has been the elephant. What is it? The elephant and the tortoise. Like they were like walking through this bridge that was like shaking vigorously, and they're trying to like make it through, and the bridge is about to break. Right? Yo, I heard these stories when I was so young, and it's still like they still sit with me. And again, now I'm passing these stories to my kids. Storytelling is something that has just been like forever been part of my life. And I am an audio learner. I don't know what came first because like I grew up listening to stories. So therefore I'm an audio learner, or, it's kind of like the chicken egg thing, like what came first. So in school, like I just had to hear you. Like if the teacher, the professor is talking about something, I'm like, let me just hear you talk about it. Like I got it. You want me to read and write? That like, it did not click for me. And so I'm like, yo, I actually like also like listen to podcasts or audiobooks. Child, if you want to hear all the books that I'm reading, just hit me up. I'm gonna tell you. But I can listen and capture everything when I'm hearing like a story. But I was like, what would this look like to actually like to someone like me who wants to listen to something or even maybe watch something, right? Because we're on YouTube. Shout out YouTube. Uh like what does that actually look like to merge all of this together? What does storytelling look like, in a way that you can hear it, you can see it, and we can really bring that into this birthing world. That's how we got here. That's why we're in season 2. I remember, I think a few years back, I called Mora. So Mora was our first guest here. She is actually coming back this season because she had baby number 2. Hey, with her positive birth story, I cannot wait for you to hear that as well. But I remember calling more like, yo, listen, I said, we're starting a podcast. I said, we're going to talk about this positive birth stories. And Maura, you're going to be my first guest on it, right? And Maura was just like, she knows me well enough to be like, oh, she's not joking. She's like, okay. And I was like, yep, just you wait. And here we are years later. So this has truly been a dream come true. And that's why it's just been so, so special to hear from you, to hear the feedback, how this has been supporting you and your folks, your community. And honestly, the prayer is that we keep going. So I do want to mention before I tell you what is all going to happen in season 2, I do want to mention that, the reason why, storytelling is so powerful, it is because storytelling actually like goes beyond logic in our brains and that it connects with us emotionally. It connects with us very much internally. So there is a reason to why when you think about even like the social media pages or like the people that are doing good storytelling, those are the things that you're probably mostly watching or scrolling right on TikTok or on IG or wherever it might be, or even on YouTube, is because the stories take us to a space that like our logic brain can't. This is why you remember stories that are negative around birth that somebody has told you or that you have seen. Is but stories go really deep in us. They really connect with us so internally, so emotionally that they tend to make an impact. Why can't we do stories that connect with us emotionally around birth that are good, right? Because if we know that if stories, right, that are negative like impact us that much, we know that stories that are good can as well. Season 2, what so season 2 is absolutely incredible. We are starting off with a boom, like with a boom. So Black Maternal Health Week is around the corner. It is April the 11th to April 17th. So Black Maternal Health Week is really this national observed time that shines a light on Black families. This is where we're shining in the light of like, what it is like to be Black and birthing and the challenges that go with that. But it's also a time of like highlighting like what's going good. And the theme, I'm not gonna spoil a lot of things because I want you to like come back and tune in and hear about it. But the theme this year, yo, aligns with this podcast. When I tell you I had chills when I saw the theme, because it's talking about joy and justice. I said, wait a whole minute, okay? Wait a whole minute. Like that is that's absolutely incredible. So we partnered with Oshun Family Center, and you will hear more about Oshun Family Center, who has sponsored 5 whole episodes in during Black Maternal Health Week. So you're actually, how we do like weekly episodes? This is gonna be like everyday episode, baby. Okay. So we're highlighting, mamas, people who, with this like really uplifting positive birth stories. We got a midwife. Yo, I sat down with one of my favorite midwives that I personally love, okay, and have worked with. I cried, I laughed. Like it was just like this moment. It was absolutely incredible. And I cannot wait for you to listen to that episode as well. And she works with so many families and has like gems for you. So child, you gotta put that notification button on because I need you to lock in, right? Is that what the kids say? Lock in? I need you to lock in because it is absolutely incredible. We talk with a councilwoman. Okay, I had to like look up what that was because I'm not from here. So I said, what's a councilwoman? No, bro, this word. When we talk about birthing, is definitely such a like it connects with so many people, right? And it connects with so much work that needs to be done. So there's policy work, right? That needs to be done, like to really continue supporting positive births, right? There's midwives, there's providers, right? There's community organization workers that are part of this journey, and we're gonna highlight so much during Black Maternal Health Week, and I cannot wait. I can't wait for you to hear. So season 2 is going to be such a variety of episodes. We have live podcasts that we are going to do, okay? More live podcasts. Yes, you heard me. So if I am in your area or you're here locally, I definitely want you to be part of it. Again, the best way, honestly, is just connect with that email that I was talking about. Because if something is coming up, we will share. That was one of the feedbacks that we got because people were like, yo, how can I be part of like this podcast? Like, can we come? Can we do like a live recording? I was like, yeah, I guess we can. And so we have that coming up. We have like dope interviews this season. We're gonna talk to like providers, we're gonna talk to nurses. What? Like, tell us about this positive birth stories. What are they looking like? And really like give us those tools. We might even have an OB. I don't even think I told you about this. We might even have an OB on the podcast. I'm like, yes, let's go. One of the things that I want to share with you, because I got to share this like this weekend, is that I am also going to share about my second birth with my second baby. So if I don't know that you would know this, but in Philadelphia we have one birthing center, and unfortunately our birthing center has closed. And I'm very much connected to this birthing center. Like, this is the space for me that has been like, I don't even have words for it. It's just been a place of safety for me, as like, as someone who's birthed there, but also as just like a human being. That's where I've gotten like my gynecology care. I've also like taught there. That's also where I've been a teacher at for childbirth education. And so we actually had a closing ceremony recently, and I was sharing my story, and I was like, yo, my second birth was dope.com. And you were like, we're cracking up. It's like, it doesn't mean that if you birth at a birthing center, you have like a good birth. It doesn't always mean that. And I was like, well, mine was. So I just need to leave that, in the record that I had an incredible birth, even the second time. And I can't wait to tell you about all of that in season 2 as well, because it's so important to realize that when we talk about this, like empowering births, right? When you have this empowering, this positive birth in like, with your first, it legit just like pushes you even further when, with your next babies. Come back weekly, come and listen to these stories and continue to share your feedback. Like, your feedback goes a long way, okay? We are on all the platforms, okay? We are on all the platforms. Yes, we're Spotify. Yes, we're on, Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube, and what else? The other what what other spaces do you listen to podcasts? Everywhere. All the places, okay? Because when you share your feedback, when you comment, when you like, when you subscribe, even most importantly, right? Or when you download, it tells the people that, run the cloud. I don't know who this that you want this, that you are engaged, that this is good, that we do need this. So please, continue to doing that. Share it, just as you've been doing. Share it with somebody else. It literally means so much, and it costs you nothing, right? To say, link, whoop, share it to somebody, right? YouTube is one of the spaces that we're really trying to grow, because YouTube can start funding our podcast if we get there, and you can see us. You can see our faces, and all of that. Because, money is weird. I know if you feel it. Money's weird. I'm always like, oh, I don't know if I should tell you. But you can donate to the podcast. So secondly is, yes, please listen, share. But if you want to, you can definitely donate to this work. Again, I already told you, we got 2.5 people who are doing this work. It does take money for us to be here. We have to pay for these platforms that we're on. We got like cameras, we got the techniques, like all of that. We got Grant on the other side who like this to edit. Yo, Grant be like 2 o'clock. I'm like, did you send me an email at 2:30 in the morning? Like, what were you doing? Well, we had to do this podcast. We had to edit. So it does take money to run this. And it's funny because I'm like, if I knew everything that it takes to do this, oh no, just kidding. I would still do it. We would still do it, but it does take definitely funding for it. I recently just had like some, going back to shouting out my doulas. I had some doulas just like really come through. We had like a meetup, and I had doulas like donating, $8, $25, $50, right? To this work. And so I wanted to share that with you, to be like, it, like anything, like really does go a long way for, for us to be able to continue doing this. And my prayer is that we really continue to. And so if you're like, I can give you $8 sir, once a month. All right, bro. Like, I promise you, it goes such a long way. So I definitely wanted, to mention that. I've had some folks send me grants that you might hear of that you think would support this work. Do not hesitate to send it. Please send it. You might know somebody. You might know an organization that might say, hey, we wanna support, we want to support this podcast. We want to invest in, whatever that we want to sponsor, right? We had, I think last year, right? We had an organization sponsor a podcast. It was amazing. It was like really beautiful. We didn't even have to worry about that production because it was already taken care of. So you can definitely you can donate. And all of that information is down below. My heart is I'm forever grateful because I know that, we cannot do this on our own. You can work with me. I do 101 prep, where I really help you in preparation for your birth. So you can totally work with me. And with my doula sisters, I offer mentorship. We have all of those in the show notes. I know not everybody looks in the show notes, so I wanted to definitely highlight that as we talk about season 2. Season 2. Season 2. What?
29?
29? No.
29? 29?
Can you please not tell anybody I just did that? That feels embarrassing.